Welcome to Mr. Mitsubishi YouTube channel dedicated to Mitsubishi. We cover a lot of Outlander on the channel and a lot of other Mitsubishi product. Today we'll have a look at these two SUVs. It's RVR, or in some parts of the world it's Outlander Sport or ASX versus Eclipse Cross. So we'll have a look at these two SUVs. They're very similar in what they are in the price point, yet they're a little bit different for each other kind of appearances and size and everything else. We'll have a look at the front, the side, and the back comparison. We'll check out the interior differences as well, so that way if you're deciding between one or the other, this video hopefully helps you for that. Now, one thing to know, this is the fully loaded GT version. This is almost fully loaded SEL version. There's few things missing. I just don't have it in inventory right now, the fully loaded GT. This one does not have the sunroof, just keep in mind. Not exactly apples to apples, but we're comparing apples to almost apples. So the design and the size of it is going to be the same. The interior looks really sharp on this one as well, even though it doesn't have, it's not the fully loaded version. But let's have a look at the front, then the side, and then the rear comparison and the interior. And here's the front comparison, and again I'm just looking at the real life comparison, the way how it looks in real life. I'm not looking about going off the graphs on the width and height, because what matters the most, how these vehicles look and feel in real life. So we'll start with this. Visually, the Eclipse Cross looks larger than the RVR, ASX, Outlander Sport, whatever you want to call them. So we can already kind of see, if we go from up here, this vehicle sits a little bit higher. It's also wider and just feels and looks a little bit larger. We can see that the hood part here is a little bit higher as well. So the Eclipse Cross overall sits higher, the hood is higher, and the front part is just wider itself as well, so it looks, at least. Okay, now of course both of the vehicles have this dynamic shield element and the separated headlights. I like this Mitsubishi design a lot. I think it looks really cool. Hope they're keep this good thing going. We can see how these daytime running lights are smaller, narrower on the Eclipse Cross than the RVR. This one gives a little bit sleeker kind of looks. A little bit different shape for the dynamic shield. Here this is kind of like square, here this is all under the angle. So obviously some design differences between one and the other. The lower part, same thing, it does look a little bit different. I do like this two-tone going on here on the Eclipse Cross. I wish that would be, I think would look good also on the RVR as well. But one of the things I like a lot is these, how they separate the headlights from the daytime running lights. And with the Eclipse Cross, especially that they have these two lights here, it looks really sharp, I think. So from the visual perspective, this one maybe looks a little bit modern, sleeker kind of thing, but it's also a bigger SUV. Now, engine size, this is a 2.4 liter regular engine, no turbos, no nothing, 168 horsepower. This is 1.5 liter turbo with 152 horsepower. So this one is a turbo, less horsepower, non-turbo, more horsepower. So it's kind of interesting how on the smaller car they have more powerful engine, but definitely if you're between one or the other, can't really decide, it's worth to test drive both of them, because this one doesn't feel underpowered by all means, and it's turbo 1.5, goes really well. So cool. This is the front comparison. We can see how similar design lines are there and what are some of the differences. Obviously Eclipse Cross bigger in size. Now let's have a look at side comparison. And here they are from the side view. So again, I like how they're both Octane Blue, same color. Looks really good. Lengthwise, that looks a little bit better, but again doesn't stand out maybe all that much. But you can definitely see that Eclipse Cross is appears to be a longer vehicle. Not a huge difference in length, at least from a visual perspective. So that's kind of similar. From the height thing, it kind of, you can see how Eclipse Cross, the design line goes up and then goes down like this, rounds up like a crossover. The RVR, it doesn't happen all that much. That's why like almost the back part looks kind of the same, just the driver's side looks a little bit higher in real life. You can tell that this is definitely a bigger vehicle, stands out a bit more. This side molding, by the way, it's an aftermarket add-on, so this one could be put on the Eclipse Cross as well. We just haven't done that yet. The rims, again, these are like special black edition rims, and that's how the rims look like on the fully loaded RVR. If we look at the wheel size, let's find them where they're okay. They're 18s, and these ones are, let's find them here, they're also 18s. So same wheel size, it's just different design. So that's how they look from the side. Same thing, I don't know, like there's not a lot of similarities in design, so you can definitely see how, you know, the front lines, like this part is kind of like the same design. The hood goes up here, but like, you know, you see how this this door line here, it's a little bit different, I guess a little bit similar in this regard right here for the line going up like this, and same on the RVR. So overall, this one is a little bit bigger vehicle, this one is smaller, obviously, both great looking. So now it's time to check out how they look from the back. And here is the back. So the back comparison, same thing. Right from the bat, we can see that the Eclipse Cross is bigger vehicle. It's higher, wider, and you know, in this shot, I would say from the rear you can tell more so than from the front which vehicle is bigger. So this one definitely, Eclipse Cross, stands out as a bigger vehicle. And as we go from up top, so we kind of can see how they're shaped, I would say there's not a whole lot of design similarities from the back. Like the front had a lot of dynamic shield and how the lights are separated. I don't see all that many similarities on this one, right? So I would say even this part here around the trunk, this design, it's more so like the Outlander, new Outlander has the same theme, like the RVR just doesn't have it. And the bottom, so see how here we have these fake vents, the airflow vents or whatever they're meant to be. This design is not transferred on the Eclipse Cross. So from the back, like, you know, you can obviously tell there's Mitsubishi badge and whatnot, but I don't see the similarities. Even the windshield wipers, one is facing that way, the other facing is the other way. So not much to compare. Let's have a look at the trunk spaces though. I think that's important as well. Interesting thing on RVR, even on the fully loaded, you don't have the power option, so that can be never opened with the push of a button. Eclipse Cross, it's different. On Eclipse Cross you have power button on the fully loaded. This one is not the fully loaded, that's why you don't have the power trunk. But of course, if we look at the trunk, same thing, Eclipse Cross stands out just as a little bit bigger vehicle. On the RVR here we have a subwoofer, pretty cool thing. This one doesn't have it because it's not fully loaded. The RVR is kind of like, you know, it would be nice to have this power trunk, but it's a smaller SUV, so it doesn't bother me that I have to close it manually. Eclipse Cross, maybe a little bit, so higher reach because the vehicle is higher. With RVR, you don't notice that too well. So excellent. Now let's have a look at some of the interior differences, and then we'll recap these two awesome SUVs. And let's compare two interiors now. We'll start the RVR ASX Outlander Sport, then we'll check out the Eclipse Cross. Every time when I get into any kind of vehicle, what's important is to see how it feels. When you first jump in, no matter the make, the brand, if you're jumping in the vehicle for the first time or time and time over, it seems like, you know, it's important how it feels. And this one definitely feels like a little bit smaller SUV, but you have a nice feeling. You can see how leather wrapped steering wheel and everything else in the vehicle contrasts with these glossy elements and aluminum wraparounds like this. Vehicle of course starts with push to start button. You have nice convenience features like heated steering wheel. I really like this thing about RVR. It mixes together modern with just like some old school looking buttons, right? Like this, right? With like really nice and big screen. I do like it a lot. So you do have the heated the heated seats. That looks awesome as well. So this one, it doesn't feel very modern, but you know what? The size and the space of it looks really, really good, and it feels really, really nice. It does have also panoramic glass roof. Doesn't open up, but like, you know, basically the entire roof is glass roof, and gives you this open feeling. When I drive this car, this SUV, I definitely have a very nice feel for it. And now let's have the look at the Eclipse Cross. Okay, right here is the Eclipse Cross. Let's jump in. Like I said in the beginning of the video, this is not a fully loaded version. You don't have the sunroof or the glass roof, but let's start it up. So basically the same steering wheel we can see, leather wrapped with these glossy contrasts. Really nice big screen as well. You can get the head-up display on the Eclipse Cross. That option is not available on the RVR. So same kind of deal with these buttons here, but I think, you know, they're like kind of old school looking, but this one doesn't feel as old school, so to speak. This one feels modern. You have these console lines here that makes it look more like a like crossover car-ish kind of thing versus just an SUV feel. So this one feels more modern than the RVR, but I don't think it's you know, a disadvantage for the RVR, because in RVR's case, everything goes really, really well together for what that vehicle is. So that's how this one looks versus the RVR. Leave a comment, by the way, on your favorite interior. Let's have a look one more time. RVR, it's like this, and Eclipse Cross, there we go. A little bit more modern versus the RVR. So there we go. We just had a look at two different SUVs in a Mitsubishi lineup. It's RVR ASX Outlander Sport versus Eclipse Cross. My resume is this. For some reason, if we look at the entire thing, how it drives, feels, what kind of engine performance and drivability you get out of it, like, my pick is the RVR. I just really like this 2.4 liter 168 horsepower engine versus the 1.5 liter turbo 152. And the interior, even though it looks a little bit more dated than on the Eclipse Cross, I think it goes really well together with all these modern elements, and I just really, really like the overall package you get with this one here. Not a bad vehicle, both are excellent choices. That's just my personal pick. So I hope you like this video. I hope you found this useful. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, help the channel to grow. And there we go. So these were the two vehicles, same color, almost the same trim levels. Glad you watched the video. Thank you for that, and on to the next one.